We got something for you. We got something for you. It's something Megapod shiny. It's wrapped in Megapod plastic. Put on your Megapod jammy. It's time for Megapod-tastic. 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 Megapod-tastic.
Good morning. Welcome to Crazy Joe's Concession Stand. I am Crazy Joe. It is a Friday night. I hope everyone's having a good Friday night. And it's been an interesting night for me. I had planned to go see Saw X tonight. I had tickets to see Saw X tonight. And then I changed my mind and decided I wasn't going to go see Saw X. And it's mainly because of a bunch of articles that were sent to me today from various friends saying that the gore is so extreme in Saw X that theaters have been passing out vomit bags to people. And I'll be honest with you, that just sounds unpleasant. I go to horror movies. I love a good horror movie, but I like a story. I'm there for a story. And granted, this movie, Saw X, is getting very favorable reviews. If you look at Rotten Tomatoes, it's like in the high 80s, which makes it not only the highest rated Saw movie in the entire history of the franchise, it's literally the only Saw movie in the entire franchise that that didn't get a rotten score. I mean, out of 10 Saw movies, all but one scored a rotten on Rotten Tomatoes, and Saw X, Saw 10, whatever they're calling it, is the only one to get a positive rating. So, on one hand, that makes you go, "Wow, there must be something to this." But then when I read, we got to pass out vomit bags. Let me tell you a story. I have a friend who loves horror movies. I've never heard him say a bad word about a horror movie up until a year ago. It doesn't matter what the horror movie is. It could be a big budget film from the studios. It could be some little indie film. It could be something that goes right to Tubi, something that goes direct to video. He never says a bad word about it. He always, "Oh, that was fun. Oh, I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was pretty good." Never says a bad word about a horror film in all the years I've known him until last year. Then last year, the movie Terrifier 2 came out, and he hated it. He hated Terrifier 2, and he said to us, "Don't bother with this movie. It's all shock value. It's over the top gore, and there's poop stuff in there, and it's just over the top." First time in all the years I've known this guy, I've ever heard him say anything bad about a horror movie. This is a guy who loves the genre, and he couldn't stand the Terrifier 2. So then I see the headline, and it says that Saw 10 is gorier and more sickening to audiences. I'm paraphrasing here. Let me see if I can find the exact article. Somebody texted it to me. Actually, they only texted me a screenshot. I don't actually have the full article here. I only have a screenshot. But this headline says, Saw 10 is being branded as worse than Terrifier 2 with so much gore, fans are being handed sick bags. Now, I'm a fan of the franchise. I've seen most of the Saw movies. Not all of them, but most of them. And the prospect of going to see another Saw movie, it was a no-brainer. You tell me there's going to be another Saw movie, I was like, okay, I'm going to go see that. Yeah. And then you show me a very positive Rotten Tomatoes score, and I'm like, oh, wow. Even the critics like this one. They don't usually like these movies, but even they thought that this was worthwhile. And then I read that, and all my enthusiasm just went out. And I'm like, I don't feel like watching something that's going to make me sick. I don't feel like watching something that's just got gore for the sake of gore, over the top. Let's see if we can turn people's stomach. you know, it just turned me off. Turned me off, made me not want to see the movie. Lisa's here. Good to see you, Lisa. Hi ho Joe. The Crazy Joe notification bell went off while surfing YouTube. Yeah, no vomit bag horror, please. Thank you, Lisa. I don't know if anyone's around tonight. I saw that Max was apparently live over on the MME channel while I was doing something, so I did not see any of his stream. I saw he had another ridiculous James Gunn headline. I don't know exactly what it was about though because I didn't see it. But I don't know when he ended. He must have been on for less than an hour, which is unusual for him. But let's see if I can get anyone to join us. Oh, Brian says that wasn't Max. Well, all right. Anyone who wants to join this stream, it was Taladia. Taladia is going for the Max style clickbait headlines now. Come on, man! I expect better from you, Taladia. If anybody would like to join us, feel free to pop in. I just changed all my passwords, so I'm trying to log into Twitter to send the link out, and unfortunately, I don't remember what the password is because I just changed all my passwords. It's a problem. I should have done this before I logged on, but it's the Crazy Joe curse. I never do I? Just bear with me a second here. So anyway, I was going to go see Saw 10 tonight, and then I decided at the last minute, you know what? I'm not going to watch this movie. It sounds like it's just gore for the sake of gore. I don't need to see that. Besides, the last two movies I saw in the theater were not very good. I didn't feel like making it a 3 for 3. And I stayed home instead to watch the original Scream with my daughter, who's never seen it. She's never seen a horror movie, and she kind of wanted to see what a horror movie was like. And my wife says, "What's a good horror movie that you can?" My wife hates horror movies. She says, "What's a good horror movie you can show her that's not going to like traumatize her?" She's 16, and I thought, well, the perfect primer for her, a person who's never seen a horror movie, perfect primer is the original Scream. The original Scream is good because it's not too over the top. It's very mainstream. It appealed very much to the mainstream. It's not over the top with gore, with scares. It's got a lot of humor in it. And I said, this is a good first time horror film. So I showed her Scream, and she was very nervous going into it, but she loved the movie. She at the end, my wife hated it because she watched it too to make sure, my wife never seen Scream. She hates horror movies, but she said, all right, I'll watch it too if Jackie's going to watch it. And we got to the end, and my wife absolutely hated it, and my daughter enjoyed it. So there you go, her first ever horror movie, and she was a fan. So that's the power of Wes Craven. So James says, still disagree with you on including Demonic Toys being a reason why David Goyer can't write, since Demonic Toys is a B movie from Full Moon. Yeah, but that's irrelevant. It being a B movie is irrelevant. It wasn't a good B movie. I mean, there's good B movies and there's bad B movies. Wasn't a good one. Full Moon has made some very entertaining movies. Writer Peter David, who wrote a lot of Star Trek novels, wrote a really fun series of movies for Full Moon called what was it called? I can't remember now. Sci-fi. It was a sci-fi western. Was it called Oblivion? I want to say Oblivion. And they made two of them, and they were a lot of fun. They were just silly enough, and they had a lot of Star Trek references. George Takei was in them, so just being a Full Moon movie isn't an excuse. A bad, there's good ones and there's bad ones. He wrote some bad ones. Yeah, I mean, he's written some good things. He wrote the Blade movies. He wrote The Dark Knight and Batman Begins. He also wrote The Dark Knight Rises, which was garbage. So, but I think if you look at his resume, there's more negatives than positives. Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance. The guy's got more strikes against him than pros. But he did do a couple good things. Brian says Snyder Bros expect nothing less. So I guess Taladia had some Snyder Bros on with him. What are you gonna do? Wonder if Max is around tonight. Max, if you're watching, stop on in. I didn't even make a thumbnail for tonight. I wasn't expecting to go on tonight. This was not on my plans at all for tonight. But there you go. I'm going to put in our member chat. Come on in, everyone. Boom. There's the link. So hopefully someone will stop by. Otherwise, I don't know how late I'm going to stay on. Let's see. James says, all right, everyone, which era is your favorite cartoons? 80s, 90s? Well, definitely of this grouping, the 80s. Yeah. I think my favorite might be my favorite era might be like the old theatrical shorts, Looney Tunes, which I guess will put us in the 40s and 50s. Brian is taking a night off, or else he'd join us. That's all right. Anthony saw Scream when he was 9. I was in college when I saw Scream. That's when the movie came out. I was in college. Connor's here. Connor, I got something for you. I just got to mail it. It's sitting over here on the bar. I got something for you. It just needs to be mailed out. Did I see The Creator yet? No, I did not see The Creator. Let me tell you, the last 2 movies I saw earlier this week, I went to see The Nun 2. The Nun 2. I am a fan of the franchise, the Conjuring franchise. I really liked The Conjuring. I really liked The Conjuring 2. Annabelle came out, and a lot of people trashed Annabelle. A lot of people were like, Annabelle's garbage. I actually like Annabelle quite a bit. I think it started out bad. Like, I think the first half of Annabelle was a pretty lousy movie, but it definitely improved as it went along. Then Annabelle 2 and 3 came out. They were fantastic. 2 and 3 were great. Annabelle 2 was the same director that gave us the Shazam movies, which I also love. David Livingston, is that it? David? No. Sandberg. David Sandberg. David Livingston directed episodes of Star Trek. Yeah, so then we got the Annabelle movies. They were good. I'm pretty much a big fan of the Conjuring franchise. But then we got the Nun spinoff a couple years ago. And I really did not like the Nun. I mean, the Nun, the character of the Nun introduced in Conjuring 2 was fine. I like Conjuring 2. I like the Nun in Conjuring 2. But they give the Nun a spinoff, and the Nun was a horrible, horrible movie. And I started hearing the second one was better than the first one, so I was like, okay, I'll check this out. So I watched The Nun 2, and it is total garbage. These Nun movies, as much as I'm a fan of the Conjuring universe, I am not going to see any more of these Nun movies. If they make a Nun 3, I am out. They would have to do something like pretty extreme, like maybe if James Wan himself directed the Nun 3, you can get me interested. But short of like James Wan himself being the director, you're not going to get me for a Nun 3. I'm done. So then I go back a couple days later to see Expendables 4. Now I went in, I heard the Expendables 4 wasn't very good. I wasn't expecting high art, but I thought I'm going to have a good time with this. I had a good time with the third one. The third Expendables wasn't a great movie, but I had fun with it. I'm like, we're just going to have a good time. We can look at this cast. We got Stallone, we got Statham, we got Dolph Lundgren. This is going to be a good time. I did not enjoy the Expendables 4. So that's 2 in a row. I didn't like the Nun 2. I didn't like Expendables 4. And yeah, I'm um, I'm kind of on a cold streak for movies. I have not been enjoying the movies I've been going to see lately. I do want to see The Creator. The Creator to me was going to take a back seat to Saw X or Saw 10. What is the title? Is it Saw 10 or Saw X? I don't know. But now I've kind of lost my luster for Saw. Eventually, I will see um, The Creator. It's on my list. I will see it. Noah says, "What's up? I'm doing good here, Noah. How are you?" And Eternal Harmony is just got here. Welcome to the party, Eternal Harmony. James says, apparently there's a live action One Piece. I've avoided it like the plague. I've avoided the anime like the plague. Yeah, I saw one episode of the live action One Piece. It was very good. Not good enough to make me want to keep watching because I mean it's a pirate show. I'm not really a big pirate fan. Pirates are okay. I mean, even the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, the first one was okay. It went on a little too long. The sequels were all trash. So yeah, I'm not really, and it's just basically it's what if Plastic Man from DC Comics? What if DC's Plastic Man became a pirate? That's basically what One Piece is. It's handled fine. I really liked the first episode, but not enough to keep watching. And you couldn't pay me to watch the anime, so it's not a chance. Not a chance I would ever watch the anime. Connor says, "Thanks again for that. No problem, no problem." And agree, Expendables 4 was a huge disappointment. Have no idea what that $100 million budget, where the $100 million budget went. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It was, but you know what? There's moments. There's moments in the Expendables 4 where I got a little smile on my face and I'm like, these characters, these actors, they've still got it. They've still got it. You can come back and do an Expendables 5 and make it work if you have a better script. These characters still have that spark. Excuse me. And it could work. It could work. You could bring it back and it could work. But this one did not. This one did not. Sweet Maria, it's the Krazy verse. Welcome, Larry. Yes, welcome to the Krazy verse. Lisa says, "Am I looking for any particular collectible that you want me to secret shop for at the toy show Sunday?" Lisa, I appreciate it, but I do want to try to get away from collectibles. I'm trying to buy less. I just have less. I don't have a lot of room for things. I've been really trying to scale back. I've been selling stuff on eBay, selling stuff at different shows, and just trying in general to spend less and buy less and accumulate less because I'm running out of room. But I do appreciate it. One thing I do need though is an autograph from one Mr. Judd Nelson. We turn over here against the wall here. It's not in sight yet. Not in sight yet. There, it's kind of washed out. You can't really see it because it's washed out. But that there is a movie poster of The Breakfast Club. That is a Breakfast Club movie poster hanging right there. Totally washed out. Like you guys really can't. Is there anything? Oh, maybe the lighting. Let me turn this light out. No, that didn't help. You guys can't really see it. That's a Breakfast Club movie poster. And it is signed by 4 out of 5 members of the Breakfast Club. So I just found out that in Lisa's hometown of Rhode Island, at the Rhode Island Comic-Con in November, Judd Nelson's going to be there. And he's the last remaining Breakfast Club signature I need on that poster. So it looks like I'm going to be taking a trip to Rhode Island in the near future. So see you soon, Lisa. I'm coming to Rhode Island because I need that signature. Eternal says, "Just finished watching the holiday slasher film Jack Frost." I've never seen that. And that's not to be confused with the Jack Frost starring Michael Keaton. There's two. There's I believe the horror film was a direct-to-video film, if I'm not mistaken, and then around the same time there was a theatrical film also called Jack Frost, starring Michael Keaton. So now what is this? I don't see. James says, "Say Joe, ever seen the YPT Gowam buys Gwonam buys an X-wing on eBay? It's honestly my favorite Star Wars movie." I don't know what YTP Guanam buys is. I've never heard of that before, so I'm not familiar with it. Connor says, "Will I be showing my daughter the rest of the Scream series now, if she wants to see them?" If she wants to see them, because I mean, so far we've just shown her the original Scream just tonight. But the next one in the franchise is my favorite Scream movie out of the 6. My favorite Scream movie by far is Scream 2. So I would love to show her Scream 2 because I love Scream 2. I did tell because my daughter is a big fan of Star Trek Lower Decks. She loves Star Trek Lower Decks. So I did let her know that in some of the subsequent films, not one, but 2 crew members of the USS Cerritos are going to show up in Scream 2. It's Jerry O'Connell, who's the voice of Commander Ransom on Lower Decks. And in Scream 5, it's Jack Quaid, who is the voice of Boimler on Lower Decks. So there you go. 2 of her Lower Decks crew members will be showing up soon. So there we go. I am already getting exhausted. I've only been on the air for 21 minutes, and I'm starting to get exhausted. You know what it is? I bet it's this. I got 2 vaccines today. 2 vaccines, COVID and flu shot. They may be kicking in. November in Rhode Island, what a paradise. Are you being serious or facetious, Lisa? I'm not sure. Also, Lisa, you gave me a list of things to check out when in Rhode Island. And I don't know how long I'm going to be in Rhode Island. Obviously, I'm going to come up to the show, but I'm going to try to do this on the cheap because that's the way I am. I don't want to be spending too much money on hotel rooms, things like that. So this may be a very brief trip. But I am wondering how far you are from Boston. If I wanted to drive from Rhode Island to Boston, about how long would that take? Because I've always wanted to go to the Cheers bar. It's something I've always wanted to do. Lisa thought I was going to show a new tattoo. Yes, it's a tattoo of a Band-Aid. I got a tattoo of a no. This is actually because I had a shirt on all day. I didn't even realize Walgreens put their logo on their Band-Aids. I had no idea. And the Walgreens logo looks suspiciously like the baseball logo for the Washington Nationals. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed that. When I first saw the Washington Nationals logo, I thought they were actually sponsored by Walgreens. Like, here in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Phillies play at Citizens Bank Park. Citizens Bank sponsors the stadium. So I thought maybe that's the deal in Washington. Maybe the Washington Nationals had a stadium that was like sponsored by Walgreens or something. So they're like, yeah, we'll put your logo on our hats. Apparently that's not the case, but that's what I thought because the logo is just about the same. Jacob says, did I see Saw 10 is now the highest rated film of the franchise on Rotten Tomatoes at 86% with 77 reviews and a 90% audience score. Jacob, we were just talking about that. I was very excited when I saw it's literally the first film in the Saw franchise to not get a rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes. Not only is it the highest rated, it's the only one to get a fresh rating ever. And I was looking forward to it until I started hearing about the gore factor and how they were handing out sick bags and everything. And I'm decidedly less interested now. James says, ever seen Hellboy 2: The Golden Army? Absolutely. I love Hellboy 2: The Golden Army. It is a fantastic movie. I remember in the summer of '08, Hellboy 2: The Golden Army came out, and I kind of fizzled at the box office. Not a lot of people went to see it. Not a lot of people were talking about it. And then The Dark Knight came out, and everybody went nuts for The Dark Knight. And Hellboy 2 just kind of disappeared. Yeah. Nobody cared. Nobody was talking about Hellboy 2. Everybody was obsessed with The Dark Knight. And I'll be honest with you, I like Hellboy 2 a lot better than The Dark Knight. I think The Dark Knight is a very overrated movie. It's just too grounded in reality. And I prefer my Batman to have a little bit of fantasy in it. I may be cutting this short. We may only be on for about a half hour because you may notice my eyelids are getting very heavy. Came on me kind of fast. I thought I had some energy in me, and it's gone away. Also, it's a little hard to just. This is why I like having other people on the panel. It's a little hard to do all the talking. It gets to be a bit much on your throat. So I thought for sure somebody might pop on. Talati is saying he would pop on, but he's about to go to bed. He is in the UK. It's a little later over there. Lisa says that Rhode Island is about an hour away from Boston. All right. Maybe I'll do that. Down Phoenix says it's crazy. It got such a good rating. I might have to go see it. And I figured it was going to be the usual schlock. Me too. You know, the Saw movies kind of have a formula. You kind of know what to expect. And I thought it was going to be more of the same myself. Eternal Harmony says, did you make it through the entire Dawson Creek series? I know you said you started it in one of your old vids. You know, I made it into season 2 and I bailed. Part of the reason I bailed is because Heath over at Serial at Midnight did a review of the series. And he kind of talked about where the show kind of was going in later seasons and how he kind of didn't care for the later seasons because of some of the places it went. And I kind of felt a lot of the things Heath was saying in his review about the later seasons, I was already seeing in season 2. And I kind of was already losing my interest in season 2. And then he's making it sound like it was just going to get all the things I had problems with. Those things were going to become bigger problems as this series went down the line. And I thought, oh my God, if we're going there, if it's taking us there, and I already don't like where we're going, and it's just going to go further down that rabbit hole, I'm not interested. There's only so many hours in the day. I've only got so many hours in the day. So I bailed. You know, I've been trying to do that lately. I have a completionist mind where I'll start a TV show and I'll be like, I got to see it through. I got to finish it. And I've been trying to tell myself, you don't have to finish things. You don't have to finish things. There's only so many hours in the day. If something isn't holding your attention, feel free to walk away from it, because you could go on to the thing that you are interested in and spend the time on that. And a good example of that is yesterday I was watching episode 5 of Twisted Metal on Peacock, starring Anthony Mackie. And I watched the first couple episodes of Twisted Metal on Peacock, and I thought it was all right. I thought it was, you know, fairly good show. But I wasn't coming back to it. Like I watched the first episode when it dropped on Peacock. That was like a month ago, maybe longer. And then maybe a week or two passed and I watched episode 2, and then maybe a little longer passed and I watched episode 3. I mean, like, we're like 2 months in and I just watched episode 5. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not a bad show. It's not a show that I dislike. It's fine. But when I sit down to watch a show and a movie, it's not the one I want to go to. It's just not holding my attention that much. It's not that what I'm seeing is bad. It's fine. It's the same with the One Piece. I watched one episode of One Piece. It was fine. It was good, but not enough to make me like need to sit down and watch it right away. So yesterday I watched episode 5 of Twisted Metal and I said, yeah, I'm going to walk away. This is fine. This is fine. But there's just so many hours in the day. And I don't have the time to devote to all these shows. Canine Pinball just walked in. Pat from TNT Amusements. He watched Renfield recently, gave it 3 out of 5. I saw Renfield in the theater, and Renfield is I didn't really like Renfield, but I liked parts of Renfield. Like there were parts of Renfield that really made me laugh. I didn't feel, I think 3 out of 5 is probably fair. I might go 2 out of 5 myself, but there's moments in that movie that are really worth watching. The movie itself just doesn't hold together. Anthony says, I definitely couldn't do a stream by myself. Yeah, it takes a toll on your voice. It does. It takes a toll on your voice. It's better when you have somebody to bounce off of. Movie Hunter says, evening, everyone. Good to see you, Movie Hunter. And Jacob says, what are the top 3 best shows ever? Okay, well, the top 2 shows for me are easy. My all-time 2 top favorite TV shows of all time are, without question, I don't even have to think about it, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I love those shows. Star Trek and Buffy. Those are my top 2. So top 3, I'd probably go with one of the other Star Trek shows. I might go Star Trek, the original series. If we want to break it up and say, well, don't give us another Star Trek, which is fair. Maybe I'd go with a comedy. And my 2 favorite sitcoms of all time are Cheers and Community. And I think in recent years, as much as, historically, I always said Cheers was my favorite sitcom. I think recent years, I've been leaning towards Community. So if you needed me to give you my top 3 TV shows of all time, it probably would be Deep Space Nine, Buffy, and the original Star Trek. But if you wanted me to get into another genre and not have 2 Star Treks in there, I'd go with Community. Those would be my top 3 shows of all time. And Jacob also says, what are my top 5 favorite characters from each different franchise movie? What are my top favorite? Any franchise? I mean, what franchise are we talking about? My favorite franchise is Star Trek. So Captain Kirk will be my favorite character. I do love Dr. Emmett L. Brown. The Back to the Future movies are 3 of my all-time favorite movies. It's kind of a broad question. I'd have to think about that one. Joji C. Didn't I answered this, Jacob? I answered this. You're asking the same questions again. Eternal Harmony says, did you like the Muppets Mayhem show? I thought it was really good. I loved the Muppets Mayhem show. It was a terrific show. I really enjoyed it. I hope we get a season 2. I haven't heard if we're going to get a season 2. Of course, there was a writer's strike on, so I don't know if we could have gotten word on a season 2 during the writer's strike. Hopefully, now that the writer's strike is over and the actor's strike is hopefully going to be over soon, hopefully we'll hear about a Muppets Mayhem season 2. Lisa says, just remember, Boston roads make no sense. Lots of one-ways. Google says the closest parking for Cheers is 11 Byron Street, 2-minute walk. I don't know. Sam Malone always parked his vet right out the front of the bar. All right. I'm going to take a couple more questions, then I'm going to wrap it up because I'm losing my voice and my consciousness. Jacob says, if I were writing Scream 7, and believe Stumacher is alive. How would you sell us on this terrible idea? Well, I don't know that it is a terrible idea. I know we've been hearing rumors of Stumacher being alive as far back as Scream 3. I think it's actually probably time to pay that off because they've been teasing it for a while now. But yeah, I think the plan for Scream 3 was that he was just going to be he survived and he's been in prison and he was planning stuff from his prison cell. So there's a few ways you can go with that. And I hope they've teased it long enough. It's like it's a shit or get off the pot situation now because they kind of need to either pay it off or stop teasing it. All right, guys, we are going to be wrapping this up soon. That's right. It's almost the end of the show. And Connor says, if I were forced to come up with the idea for Back to the Future 4, where would you go with the story? Well, first of all, if I were going to continue that franchise in any way, it would not be with Back to the Future 4. I really don't want to see a Back to the Future 4, quite frankly. But if I were going to go somewhere with the Back to the Future franchise, I think it would be a spinoff. I think I would have to do Doc invents some new invention, some kind of further adventures of Doc. Maybe not even a time travel story. Maybe what's the next crazy thing Dr. Emmett L. Brown invents? That might be the way I'd go with it. I'd probably go with a spin-off, not a Back to the Future 4. Sort of like how, what's a good example? What movie franchise had a spin-off? I can't even think now. I can't think of any. I know there have been some, but I'm blanking. I would do the Frasier to Cheers. You know, Sam Malone had a vet privilege. And CJH is here. Welcome, CJH. And Jacob says, am I going to watch Scream 7 next year? It's supposed to start production this year. Absolutely. I have seen every Scream movie in the theater without fail. I have seen every Scream movie in the theater more than once. I have been a repeat viewer in the theater for each and every Scream movie. So you bet I will be watching Scream 7 in the theater. There's no two ways around it. And you know what? CGH says maybe Fast and the Furious. They did do the Hobbs and Shaw. But that makes me think the X-Men franchise. You know, we had X-Men 1, 2, 3. Then eventually we had, like 4, 5, 6, 7. But between X-Men 3 and 4, they did Wolverine. And then they did The Wolverine. And then they did Logan. So we got like a Wolverine spinoff series. And then that's kind of the MCU, isn't it? It's kind of the MCU. You got Iron Man, you got Iron Man 2, you got Iron Man 3. They're not all Iron Man sequels. I mean, Iron Man's story, if you look at the story arc of Iron Man, it doesn't just happen in Iron Man movies. The Iron Man story arc is Iron Man 1, 2, 3, the Avengers movies, Civil War, So yeah, there's a franchise that had spinoffs. And that's probably where I would go with Back to the Future. And all right, last question. Jacob asked if I'm going to watch Exorcist Believer. I am. I just rewatched the original Exorcist. Let me just say something about the original Exorcist. This may not be a popular opinion. In fact, this might piss some people off. But wow, the original Exorcist is kind of boring until the end. I mean, the last hour, the exorcism really comes to life. But that first hour is so slowly paced. I haven't seen the movie in years. And I put on the 4K disc. I watched the new 4K. And I was kind of struck by how slow the movie is. I had forgotten how slow The Exorcist is. And you know what? I've never seen The Exorcist 3. I need to see The Exorcist 3, which is the real sequel to The Exorcist, not The Exorcist 2. All right, guys, I'm losing my voice. I'm tired. I want to thank everybody for for coming over tonight. It was good to have everyone here. Briefly, we did 40 minutes, almost an hour. And, you know, here you go. Little show. And look, you can tell I'm getting tired. You can tell because I'm my brain is not working quick enough. Like I'm losing track of what I'm saying mid sentence. That tells you I'm very tired. All right, guys, we're gonna end this. Thanks for coming by, and until next time, keep wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas
with the plastic feet.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
Tell everyone you meet.
Keep wearing those pajamas
With the back door flap.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
Don't open it, it's a trap.
Oh no,
It's a trap. Some people call them bitches. Some people call them jammies. They can come embroidered with big money and no whammies. They can have 100 tiny commander Adamas. But no matter how they look, just keep on wearing those pajamas.
keep on wearing those pajamas. Keep wearing those pajamas.
I know we're having fun.
Keep wearing those pajamas.
And now the song is done.